Okay, there we go. Well, hello, everyone. My name is Caroline Ward. I am a Senior Assistant Dean at the Office of Undergraduate Admission here at William & Mary, and I am part of our wonderful International Recruitment Team. Happy to be talking to you all today about our international community at William & Mary. So just to start off with some introductions, I'm going to pass it around to the person next to me on my screen, which will be Ola. And then after introductions, we'll get started on our presentation and panel.
Awesome. Welcome. My name is Ola Pozor, and I am an admission counselor, Caroline's colleague on the International Recruitment Team. I am also an alumna of William & Mary, and I graduated in 2019 with a double major in government and Hispanic studies. While I'm not an international student, I definitely consider myself a worldly global person and studied abroad several times. So happy to answer questions in that regard and sort of what life after William & Mary is like.
Okay, Mika, you're next, I think, on the circle of people.
Hello, everyone. My name is Micaela Taylor, but I go by Mika. My major is under global studies, Asian and Middle Eastern studies. I'm currently a senior. And when I was applying for William & Mary, I was living in Stuttgart, Germany.
Is that me?
Yes.
Hi, my name is Shoyu Lee. I'm double major in history and Japanese studies. I'm a senior. When I applied with Mary, I was still living in Wenzhou, China.
So I guess the last one will be me. Hi, I'm Rosetta Lee. I'm a freshman. That means my major is still undeclared, and I'm planning in double majoring in econ and government. While I was applying to William & Mary, I was living in China.
Thank you. And I'll go ahead and share my screen and pull up my slides here. Can you all see them okay? Perfect. Okay, so just to get started for those with not a whole lot of knowledge about William & Mary and wanting to learn more, we are located in Williamsburg, Virginia. We are about an hour away from Richmond, Virginia, 2.5 hours away from Washington, D.C., which we do have a D.C. campus, but I'll get to that shortly. We are only 20 minutes from Yorktown Beach, about an hour to an hour and a half from Virginia Beach, and we have a lot going on in the Williamsburg area. You know, we have so many tourists coming from all over the world for Colonial Williamsburg, for Busch Gardens, which is the amusement park down the street, and just restaurants are booming here. It is just an amazing area, but still feels like a college town when on campus. So we were chartered in 1693, so we're a little old. We are the second oldest college in the United States, and we have over 115 majors, minors, and programs. We do have a 13-to-1 student-to-faculty ratio, and 100 of classes at William & Mary are taught by faculty, taught by professors. So that is a kind of really important part of your time at William & Mary, where you will develop those relationships with your professors, really get to know them well. Academics are super strong at William & Mary. In fact, we are known as a public Ivy. So even though we are a public university in Virginia, we have that top tier education and that academic quality here at the university. Some other kind of fun facts about William & Mary: we have the oldest academic building still in use in the United States today. That is the Wren building, which you saw on the first slide. And then a lot of traditions happen in and around that Wren building. There are many traditions that our community members love to take part in. And then we also are the first law school in the United States. We have the oldest honor code. We had the very first in the United States, and that really ties students together, and they take it very seriously. And I will say, not just the students, also the faculty, staff, and community members. So I do want to kind of talk about research at William & Mary, because it is a really strong, important topic here. It is not required, so you don't have to do research, but 80% of our students conduct research with faculty member, and many of those students are published. We are ranked very highly for research opportunities, and research can be in any major, any area of interest. While 65% of our students major in the STEM and computational sciences and mathematics areas, research is done in the humanities, the arts, the social sciences, whatever area you're interested in. We also are ranked very highly for study abroad. In fact, we are ranked #4 for participation in study abroad in the United States for public universities. William & Mary has about 50 study abroad programs to offer to its students, but you could certainly look at other universities, other institutions, look at their study abroad programs and have the credit transfer. So it's pretty limitless. Students at William & Mary can certainly apply for scholarship to pay for that study abroad program or multiple programs. There are nearly $1 million to offer in study abroad scholarship through our Reese Center for International Studies. And then just a breakdown about the William & Mary community. We have 6,700 undergraduate students, so we are a medium to small size school. We do have all 50 states and 68 different countries represented, a little over 68 actually. So even though we are a public university in Virginia, meaning we do have to keep our overall student body at 2/3 in state, 1/3 out of state, having that representation from so many states and countries is pretty spectacular, and it certainly is seen every day at William & Mary. And then in terms of that social and campus life of William & Mary students here are very collaborative. So even though we are academically rigorous, students are not competitive. They love to support one another, get to know one another, and really take part in those clubs and organizations. Now, in terms of just some clubs I like to mention, we do have a cheese club, we have a salsa dancing club, and a salsa club, which gets together with the cheese club and has a mixer with the guacamole club as well. But you don't have to join a food club at William & Mary. You can certainly join athletics. We have 23 varsity sports. We are a Division I school, 45 club sports, and many intramural games that you can play with your friends to compete for a t-shirt. We just have so much going on campus for students to enjoy and participate in. Our alma mater productions group will invite speakers to campus, performance groups, have concerts on campus. And then we did have our new Fine and Performing Arts Center and Arts Quarter on campus opening this year. I believe summertime is when it will officially open, and that's looking really, really cool. And then we are building our 4th integrated science center. So yes, we already have 3. We're building our 4th on campus. So more resources, more labs, more classrooms. And then we do have a wellness center right in the heart of campus next to the student center. So I do want to start our Q&A with the panelists here. And just to start us off with a question, can you all talk about your advising journey and declaring a major at William & Mary and how that works? Anyone can jump on. I'll just say that.
I'll probably go first since I'm probably the only freshman here that hasn't declared a major yet. But I did have several talks with my pre-major advisor and things like that. So basically the major declaration process in William & Mary is once you hit 39 credit, doesn't matter if you got that from pre-matriculation credits, dual enrollment, credit you take from other institution that's being certified as like a college credit level. And all of that taken into consideration, after 39, you're free to declare your major by like filling out the form and have your advisors sign it. You can also reach out to a faculty in the department that you want to declare and ask them to be your major advisor. It's pretty flexible here with like changing your major and directions and adding like minor or double major. So from my knowledge, you can graduate with like a double major with 1 major and 1 minor. And yeah, so it's very flexible. And at any time that you want to change your major, it's a matter of like filling out a form and having your major advisor sign it. So I would say I really appreciate William & Mary is making this such a very efficient process for us to figure it out like multiple like directions throughout the tenure at William & Mary.
So your pre-major advisors, like was said before, they also serve to really guide you in the direction that you want to go. I mean, for example, I thought I was going to be an IR major, but then after talking to my pre-major advisor, I didn't realize that we had a whole sort of global studies and modern languages track, which allows you to focus specifically on cultures. We have Asian and Middle Eastern studies, European studies, Russian post-Soviet studies, I believe. And so you're assigned your pre-major advisor when you come in and do that sort of orientation on Blackboard that's called college studies. I also worked as a peer advisor, so you'll have a peer advisor sort of checking not only the work that you do in terms of orientation, so you can plan out your classes and all of that, but also at the same time, they'll be checking sort of the template that you use to send your first email to your pre-major advisor. But yes, like was said before, they're a really helpful resource, and they really help push me in a certain direction in terms of what ended up becoming my major along the line.
Yeah. I think I will echo a lot of previous talks. Yeah, generally the process of declaring a major is rather very smooth in William & Mary. So what happens is that when you get into the college, you will be assigned with a pre-major advisor who will basically send you the pins for registering class and so forth. And the major advisor is the person you have to looking for. I've never heard anybody who get rejected by their major advisor for trying to declare a major. Yeah, what happens is like pretty simple. You reach out, have a personal talk, have a talk in person, or have a Zoom talk or something, and then yeah, you basically fill out the form together, and everything's done. And you can always change the direction, add a double major, or demote it into a minor at any time in college. So it's I don't think it won't be a big trouble. Yeah, so.
So something you might have noticed from all three of these panelists they've mentioned, you don't declare your major until you're a student at William and Mary. And actually, it's not usually until sophomore year that you declare your major. So when students enter William and Mary, they aren't in any particular program, or when they're applying to William and Mary, they're not applying to a particular department, major, or school. So again, that kind of opens up that flexibility for students to explore, change their mind, take some prerequisites, and then also participate in our call curriculum. And I'd love for our panelists to talk a little bit about that liberal arts and sciences curriculum that we have, in addition to the coursework of the major and minor, and how your experience with the call classes was like.
So definitely the call classes feel very structured. The freshman year, you have to choose a call 100 and a call 150, but not necessarily in that order, but within that first year, and you can't take both in the same semester. And so when you're doing that sort of college studies Blackboard process, that's what your peer advisor is there to help you with, is just to make sure that you have those sort of classes spread out as you look through what classes you want to take. Also, you know, one thing that a lot of people tend to stress about, it's deviating a little bit, but it's in terms of class selection, but you also have that add drop period where you can take the first 2 or 3 classes before you can fully decide if you want it. So you don't have to 100% know every single class that you want to take when you're coming in. So that shouldn't be sort of a big stress on your mind. The call curriculum was really fun. My freshman year was a Sharp Scholar, and so they had a specific call 100, or I think it was either call 100 or call 150 that I took my first semester, and it was about like the American sort of ethnic music soundscape within the US. And so a lot of times these classes not only emphasize sort of writing and critical thinking skills, but also they really help you sort of get adjusted to the way that college classes are structured and sort of the process that you go through. There additionally is also a call 300 requirement, which that sort of ties into later on with study abroad. Study abroad is one of the ways to fulfill the call 300, which sort of gives you that international experience, but it's something that you can fulfill here as well. But yes, the call classes were very enjoyable to me personally.
Yeah, so this year I'm taking a call 100 class. I think call 100 class are meant to be more discussion based and presentation based. So like the first year experience, call classes give you exercise in different aspects of like learning, communicating, and in general, like academic skill building. So call 100 class give you a lot of opportunity to present to the whole class, discuss within a small group, and how to formulate like the idea of research from just brainstorming and such. And call 150 class is more reading and writing heavily inclined. I would say these are very clearly constructed liberal art courses that give you a bit touch on college life.
Yeah, I will also raise the point that core classes aren't necessarily sort of deviating. In my case, the core classes sort of overlap with with both of my majors a lot. So I've already decided, you know, I want to become a history major in freshman year. So I took one art history core 150 and a government 100, and both of them sort of goes to sort of my studies at in the realm of history. And I also raised the point that you know, a lot of major classes are core 200 if you do take a close look at the open course list, right? In my case, my Japanese studies major, you know, basically all the classes for major requirements are core classes. They either fulfill, I think all of them fulfill sort of core 200 ALB requirement. So my third point is that you know, core classes can be hard in a core 150 art history class I took during my freshman year. I was doing, basically an individual research project, writing a research paper that is 20-page length long, which is exactly what I'm doing in a capstone class. But that was a really good experience, and I guess early experience of faculty mentor research, as well as intensive sort of writing practice. But yeah, it can be intense, but it's fun.
And we know that William Mary students really like to get involved outside of the classroom. Can you all share what clubs and organizations that you're a part of at William Mary, and just throughout your time at William Mary? And also, I know there's an activities fair that gets shared with students every year. Can you talk about that kind of campus life culture at William Mary?
Yes, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Thank you. I think what's really nice about William Mary is that there's so many different things to choose from. I think we have over 200 something clubs. We have so many on campus. Always I'll see people tabling outside of Sadler representing their clubs. In addition, at the activities fair as well, you really get a scope for a majority of the clubs that are on campus. In terms of personal involvement, I'm involved with the aforementioned club Alma Mater Productions. I'm their director of marketing, so I help them, produce all that stuff, which is really fun. And we do events that sort of bring campus together, and it's all run by students with advising from SUE, Student Unions and Engagement. So it's definitely a really fun leadership experience. I'm also part of a number of advisory boards, the International, Study Abroad, Police, Dean's Council, Advisory Board, and all of those things. I was also a peer advisor for a couple of years. And what's really nice is that with a lot of these opportunities, you can sort of go in and out, and you don't necessarily have to start your freshman year and then end at your senior year. A lot of these clubs and organizations and activities, there are opportunities where you'll see it in email chains like Student Happenings, which is a weekly email that's sent out to all of the students that lists everything that's going on around campus. So you don't have to worry about not knowing every single thing that's going on. But a lot of times these organizations will also have their own Facebook pages, Instagram pages. So there's many ways to stay in the loop with what's going on campus, because I know that a lot of things that students worry about when they first come in is just missing out on everything. But I feel like, well, first of all, don't stretch yourself too thin. But also, secondly, I would say to try a club that you might not normally try. Like, for example, we have a cheese club where, they get together and they produce these events and people are very passionate about cheese. We have sports clubs, we have intramural sports, we have arts clubs. So pretty much everything that you can think of as a personal interest, whether it's tied into academics or not in academics, there is a club or organization for that. And if not, you can always start your own club and have sort of an advisor and go through that process. But it's really fun because we certainly have a number of opportunities on this campus to really get engaged and meet people.
Yeah, so as Mika has mentioned, weekly Student Happenings newsletter is always a very useful approach to join more activities and be more active in campus. I've joined a creative writing club that's called Workshop this year, and I really enjoy showing up to meeting, spending maybe half the minute just to creative writing pieces and the other half sharing with the peers. I think another very useful way to get involved in campus besides the club fair toward the beginning of the year is try to join the mailing list for the major, like the intentional major that you want to major in, because weekly or bi-weekly, this major will send out like the major newsletter. In there, they'll include opportunities for just this major or in general, like school happenings. So that'll be also a very great way to involve in the campus. And it's also very, since we have more than 200 clubs in the campus, it's also very easy. Like if you find a club that hasn't been founded yet, or it's been in some other school and you really want to introduce that to William Mary, you can start your own club. That is, yeah, I have not personally tried that before, but I'm sure there's a lot of advice out there. And yeah, it'll be another good way to get involved.
Yeah, I don't have a lot to say on sort of campus culture, since I would prefer to stay as one for the whole day. But yeah, but I will echo some of the previous talks that you know, there are numerous opportunities to participate in sort of either clubs or various kind of campus activities out there in campus. It's very convenient, and you know, they always send you the emails, so take a look at them. And yeah, just do whatever you're interested in. I think when we come here.
Thanks for sharing. Thanks for sharing. Well, I know I mentioned in the slides that I was going to talk a little bit about our Study in DC opportunity. So this is one opportunity that is available to students off campus in the heart of Washington, DC, where students can spend a summer term, semester long term, or winter break term in Washington, DC. There are two different summer terms. There's a shorter one and a longer one. If a student chooses the longer summer term or the semester long term, they also have a guaranteed internship as well. So not only are you taking William & Mary classes taught by William & Mary faculty, but you have this guaranteed internship in Washington, DC that you get to choose, that you get to kind of curate during your time in the program. It is open to all majors. So while it is very popular with government majors, international relations majors, it is open to all majors. And students at William & Mary really do love to explore the Study in DC program and, you know, get that credit, but also live in the heart of the city. The apartments are just down the street from the very new classrooms for the program. And feel free to look online and explore the Study in DC opportunity that William & Mary students have. But it's a great place.
On the note of internships, I'll also mention that William & Mary is actually #1 in the nation for internships. So regardless of whether you do it in Washington, D.C. or Williamsburg or really anywhere, our career services can help connect students to all kinds of field experiences before they graduate. And so that's something that we've really shifted our priorities towards so that students have their foots in the door, build new skills, work with alumni, and kind of prepare for the next step, whether it's the professional field or graduate school. We also have graduate fairs every semester and professors who help students connect to those next steps. One final thing I'll also mention about Washington, D.C. and just in general, the international student community. They have an international student orientation, and the Reeves Center, which is our International Studies Center, will take international students on field trips to Washington, D.C. and Richmond and help provide transportation to and from airports. And so that's a really nice way to kind of ease into campus life, but also familiarize yourself with the cities and the surrounding areas. If you're staying for a Thanksgiving break or winter break, the Reef Center has some opportunities for students to stay engaged here if they're unable to go back home for the holidays.
That's a great point, Ola. And actually, yes, on that topic of international orientation and the Reeves Center, so their international students, scholars and programs coordinator and team, they play an orientation, and they've actually created this really great kind of hybrid where in the beginning, students in August meet virtually with everyone, start that visa process, get those questions answered, and then come to campus in person before the whole kind of entering class comes in person. So it's been really neat for them to share information about orientation in that process and what it looks like for international students. But that's a great point. Well, I have one more final question for you all, and you're all probably very familiar with this question, but can you share your why William & Mary? Why did you choose William & Mary?
My reason for choosing William & Mary initially is, I don't know, it might be a little bit random, like 25% random. So, but I'm ready for the story. So I'm not sure if William & Mary have like an official school motto, like a school, I don't know, like a maximum for the school. But when I applied, there's like a very common phrase, which is also in the alma mater song, is like hark upon the gale. And I was just thinking, comparing with other institutions that always like include their pursuit for like truth, freedom, enlightenment, and those sort of things in their motto. I don't know, I appreciate them, but I also prefer just like go to a relatively like a quiet, very neat, very small, maybe like suburban setting campus, historically rich, and listen to like the wind chimes and things like that. I know it's already 25% random, so here's my another 75% reasoning. I knew that I'm going to explore something government and IR related, and I know William & Mary have a very strong alumni network in DC, and a lot of opportunities that orbit around like the humanity and social science majors. I also choose William & Mary because I was doing school research, and the first thing popped into my research like result was the DC program. I was really interested in that, so I applied to the semester DC program that some of you mentioned earlier. I got in. However, I was just thinking maybe as a sophomore, it gives me far more opportunity to like staying in campus comparing to going to DC. But going to DC, you get to learn I think 300 level classes that is centered around like the DC setting, and also got an internship. The director, the coordinator of that program will help you step by step going through that process and getting a lot of hands-on experience. So yeah, I was really interested in doing that program, as long as doing a lot of other, I would say it's maybe like 50 on quietly doing some reading in Sunken Garden, which is really pretty. Low-key feeling detached from the urban setting, and 50 of getting a lot of hands-on experience with internship opportunity. Yeah.
Yeah, I can share about why I chose William & Mary. So it was rather simple. So before I graduated from high school, I did a summer program at William & Mary. It was a NIRE program. So NIRE stands for National Institute for American History and Democracy, I believe. So that was a 3-week program on early on American history until the Civil War. Since the Civil War. And then it was it was intensive. Every day it was just seminar, field trip, and reading, and then writing papers on the weekend. So I really just had a very early experience on how it's sort of the academic vibe of William & Mary. And also I knew I was going to become a history major in high school. So yeah, William & Mary is an obvious choice since it has a absolutely like fabulous excellent history department, and it has a long history. We're located in this sort of historical triangle, the only place, perhaps the only place in America still nostalgic for British colonial rule, but that's how historical we are. So yeah, it was for me, it wasn't a hard choice, comparing to the other offers I accepted. Oh, not accepted, but I got. Sorry.
So for me personally, I have been lucky enough to live my whole life overseas. My dad was, I'm an Air Force dependent, so my dad was in the Air Force. And so I lived in Germany for 7 years. I lived in Japan and Korea, England, Peru. So we've sort of been a little bit of everywhere. Every 3 to 4 years we'd move around. And so when it came to looking for my college, I really wanted, some sort of stability for, the 4 years undergrad experience. And Virginia was a state that we had residence in, so I wanted to look within sort of that area. And I remember my junior year of high school, we came here during spring break, and I really just liked sort of I think the vibe is really the best word to describe it. But it's what's nice about William & Mary is that it's this community that, like was mentioned before, it's sort of away from the urban sphere, but what's nice about it is that it's small to where the classes feel intimate. Even if whether you're a class of like 50 students or 10 students, you feel equally as you are given the same sort of opportunities to participate and be involved. And also at the same time, it's that not being overwhelming, but at the same time, not being too small to where you feel trapped. You have that Williamsburg area. You also have the Colonial Williamsburg area, and the bus that comes, either every 30 minutes or every hour, depending on the day. And then, you have a movie theater, you have a mall that's like 20 minutes away. So there's a lot of things sort of within that sphere that really encapsulate the sort of American experience, but at the same time, it's not very overwhelming or overstimulating or anything like that. And it's this really nice environment of, it looks beautiful in the fall, it looks beautiful in the spring. It's just a nice little campus. And like was mentioned before, there's a lot of places to just really sit and sort of exist, whether it's study or having lunch with friends. We have a lot of dining halls, we have a lot of clubs, we have a lot of things to get involved in. I also joined for study abroad, and not only was able to study abroad at Korea University in Seoul, but I also was able to do a virtual semester, and I also ended up working for the Global Education Office. So I see how much work and how much effort goes not only into planning study abroad and connecting with students, but also with the ISSP office, and seeing sort of, how in the midst of the pandemic over these last 4 years, we've really sort of come full circle in that all of the programs that were there my freshman year that I really enjoyed are now back my senior year, the Virginia Beach trip, the international orientation. So a lot of things are now coming back that I really missed sort of after the pandemic happened. And I really do feel like what's really nice about William & Mary, what I've really come to enjoy over these last 4 years, is really the support system that you get. Most everyone, if not everyone, wants you to succeed. And there's so many resources, whether it's academic advising, career advising, study abroad advising, whatever questions you have, there is someone on campus who will help you. Mental health needs, physical health needs, the counseling center, student accessibility services. So there's a lot of systems that are in place to help you succeed, because college is traditionally sort of that environment where, it's a big step for almost everyone. And that's really sort of a space where you find yourself, whether it's in the midst of classes or clubs or friends. And so what's really nice about the school, I will say, is just that it's really a good space to be able to grow and learn more about yourself as a person. And definitely the things I'm going to be doing after graduation have come as a result of being on this campus and all of the experiences I've had, as well as the people that I've met.
Mika, are you open to sharing what it is you'll be doing after graduation?
Yes. So I am very grateful to have gotten a Fulbright scholarship program. So I'll be an English teaching assistant in South Korea for a year, sponsored by the government, and I'm very excited. And then hopefully sort of from there, I have other plans, just through the university that I was able to go to through study abroad and all of that. But those are my immediate plans, and I'm very, very excited.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, thank you all so much for providing your stories, your experiences about William & Mary, and answering those questions. And for those watching and tuning in, please let us know if you have any questions. Feel free to reach out at admission@wm.edu, or my own email at Caroline, my first name, @wm.edu. And we have some student contacts on our Meet a Major page, and on our international students page, we do have some international student panelists listed. So please feel free to reach out at any time with any questions. But thank you all so much again for providing your experiences at William & Mary. Have a great week. Bye.
Thank you.